Good evening, y'all. This is Michelle Zachary. Welcome to Relock Podcast. Today, I have my co-host here, Erica Sloan, and today's topic will be about blended families. Um, we will be talking about blended families and how they work together and why they don't work together. The reason I chose this topic is because we have a lot of um, relationships that come together and both parties have children. So these children become stepchildren, these children become, of the other parent, and things happen with that. So today, that's the topic. That's what we're going to be talking about. And so let's get this started. We'll give it a little moment and let a few viewers come in. I see Margot Neal is watching. Thanks, Margot, for coming in. So, Erica, um, we know that we both have come from blended families. I know that my mother has been married to my stepdad for 37 years, I believe. I'm 46, so maybe longer than that. Maybe she met him when I was probably like around 5. So
Mm-hmm.
she's been with him for quite some time. And I remember being a stepchild. We didn't really see eye to eye with my stepfather. Um, we thought that he was taking my dad's place, and we didn't like the thought of him taking his place. So that was a little uneasy for me and my sister. Um, at the time my mother had just gotten out of a relationship with our dad. They had went their separate ways, and then she met someone else. So um, that was the dynamics of me being in a blended family. So after my parents separated, my mom got with someone else, my dad moved on, and then we became stepchildren of this man. He didn't have any children. We end up becoming his children. And it was a tough road with us. You know, we didn't see eye to him. We were very disrespectful. We were a whole bunch of things to him. And he had to deal with us. He was with our mom, so it was like, okay. Uh, and we didn't like him for a long time. We did not like the fact that my mother had gotten with this man. It was not with my father. So my blended family really wasn't all that great to me at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's perfect. We're adults, we grow, we understand. But that was the dynamic of my blended family as a child. Erica, what about you? Did you grow up in a blended family? What was your have you been in a situation where you were blended?
Of course. Of course, my mom and my dad split when I was really young as well. I probably was like 3. Um, then we moved to Austin as I got a little older. Maybe like I was in the 3rd grade. Um, and so my dad did. I think that was my first experience. My dad did get with someone else, so we would go to spend every summer with him. And of course, he did get with somebody else. Um, I think my experience probably was different from yours.
Hmm.
Um, she was really good to us. She didn't have kids, so she really did take me and Carrie in,
Hmm.
treated us like we were her own. They got married, which they were married for 30 something years or 30 or plus.
Hmm.
And she did everything with us. We were like her own. So I think my situation was different. Um, until I think as I got older and we got older, then she started to have she had a child of her own. So I kind
Hmm.
of saw things shift a little bit as we got older and she had her own. But for the
Hmm.
most part, she took us, when we go down there for the summers, we went on vacations. She made sure that she sent us stuff, as you know, she called us. She was constantly doing birthdays, holidays, whatever. So we had a great relationship with her, actually, um, our whole life. So I guess mine was a little bit different. I had a great experience um,
Okay. Okay.
growing up, being young.
So, so we know that's old school back in the day. You know, the parents kind of knew how to act back then.
Right.
You know, we had some little situations with our parents and our step parents, but why don't you think blended families work today?
Today,
Yeah.
I think it's hard to say with how they work today. I think we still trying to figure that out. Like, why? I don't think people stay together like it was when we were kids. You know, like our parents, and like I said, my dad ended up marrying her, and they were to marry until the day he passed. So, um, as far as things now, I'm not quite sure why it don't work. I guess those are some of the questions that we can ask our viewers and see why they feel like maybe things work and don't work.
What have you seen like in your life? Like, you know, we work with people, we hear about step kids. Um,
Mhm.
as like as of now, you know, in our adulthood, you know, as we have had children, why do you think um because I my kids, I didn't well, I take that back. I was married to my first husband, Joseph,
Mhm.
and we were kind of a little small blended family. Joseph
Mhm.
was in the military, so he was always gone.
Mhm.
So we didn't really have a lot of time with him in our house, even though he lived there. He was gone to Iraq, he was gone to California, he was gone to Korea. So he was gone the majority of the time. But I remember one time him and Sherrod had an issue. I think
Mhm.
Sherrod had mouthed it off some to him one time, and he was upset about it. And at that time, could nobody talk to my kids like,
Right.
I'm gonna tell you what to do with them, and then you just push what I say.
Right.
But you don't get to make rules over here. And
Right.
but you know, back then I was a little younger, so that was
Mhm.
my mentality because I had um come out of being a stepchild. I was a stepchild to someone.
Right.
Uh, where someone had come into our life and I had become their stepchild. So my mentality was nobody is going to be talking to my kids.
Right.
I set the rules when I'm not around. You follow what I say.
Right.
You don't know it came from me, and then you gonna push that narrative. So that was kind of what I saw a little bit because, like I said, Joseph wasn't around a lot because he was in the military and he was always either in war or he was always traveling. So he wasn't home much. So, but what I see today with blended families, I see a lot of jealousy in baby mamas, baby daddies.
Mhm.
You see baby mamas not want their kids to be around the new girlfriend or the
Mhm.
wife or the mother of the children or telling their children things about the new person. And so the kids develop a hate or dislike
Mhm.
for the new person. And then I think that's why some of these blended families do not work today.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, what do you have you like know of any situations where that was the situation, or you know?
I think a lot of times it does. It ends up the kid. It's more so the kids. I think they end up because, of course, they're always wanting their parents to be together. So
Hmm.
then, when you get into this new situation, I think more so for boys, they see it as they're the man of the house. I mean, I have a son, and so I know his mentality is I'm the man of the house. He don't want to see nobody else come in and take over. He not having it. He
Right.
feels like they're gonna come in and take over, and he doesn't have any say so in it. So I can say for me,
Yeah.
that's probably more so it is. It's the kids a lot of times. Like you said, a lot of times it's the woman. A lot of times it's jealousy. A lot of times I think because one of the two are not done with each other. So they see
Mhm.
somebody else move on, and then bring this new person into the picture, and then yeah, and the kids end up being in the middle of the situation.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. As we know that blended families, if the viewers don't know, and I'm sure y'all do, we know that blended families is a family that consists of a couple that have children with the current person or current children from a previous relationship, and you're bringing that together. So that's what we know blended families are. Erica, what do you think some of the challenges are of blended families?
For one, I think the kids. I also think families end up being bringing two families together.
Hmm.
I think that's a challenge a lot of times.
With blended
Uh,
families. Hmm.
just trying to blend those families, bring them together. I think even as adults, we try to say it's just the kids, but it's not just the kids; it's adults as well. So I
It's a,
think trying to bring those families together a lot of times one don't like the other for whatever reason, so that always ends up being an issue. And like you said with your kids, and you were always like, well, I don't want nobody telling my kids nothing. So it could be where some of those situations happen where the step parent does come in, says something to the kid, but the mama is like, I don't want them saying anything to my kid. It causes an issue, cause conflict within the household. So the adults, I think, also they just play a big role in it. So uh, I saw my mom and my stepmother. They got along pretty well. So I guess I didn't see so much of that. And then for me, the situation that I was in, my kids, just had their dad. So I didn't have to really go through that with my kids. Now,
hmm
as I've gotten older and my kids are older, my son being 21, he don't want to see me date. So definitely as they've gotten older, but I guess I didn't have to go through it with my kids because they were always around their dad. I didn't have anybody else around, so I didn't have to go through it so much.
Right. Um, yeah, I think that's true too. You know, um, when we're talking about immediate family, you're right. Blended families could be in-laws.
As
Uh,
well.
two whole families together.
Hmm.
I will say that you know, with these blended families, we started off talking about just immediate kids. I
Hmm.
think that a lot of young children have a problem with adapting to a new person or a new environment. Sometimes I think it's the way we meet people. We
Hmm.
don't bring people into our life slowly. We bring people into our lives instant, and then we expect our kids to jump on board because we like those people. We
Right.
haven't eased our kids into that because what we were taught is that you don't bring nobody around your kids until you get fully committed. But
Right.
really, your kids need to date them too. Your kids need to
Mhm.
date them as well. You shouldn't date a man for 4, 5 years and then never let your kids meet him. Then 5 years down the line, y'all in and you saying, "Hey, we need to get together," but your kids ain't seen them in 5 years. Like, so it's
Right.
really not fair to the kids either. You know, that because they just met him.
Right.
You've been knowing him. So you thinking,
Yeah.
oh, the time is ticking. But your
Yeah.
kids ain't met him. So I think that is fair to when you meet a man, you don't have to people like, I ain't bringing nobody around my kids. I think you should. I think your kids need to get to meet this person early on. This could just be your friend. It don't necessarily mean he has to be your man at that point. This is
Yeah.
somebody that you're dating, you're interested in, he's interested in you. We don't know where it's going, but I want you to meet this person because
Yeah.
uh, like I said, you be don't start dating somebody 4 or 5 years down the line, and you
Hmm.
thinking now I need a ring. We need to get together, and your kids is saying,
When did you start
"Yeah,
this?
where
Yeah.
you come
I don't
from?
know him.
I said,
Yeah.
how long did we just met him?" So I
Yeah.
think maybe after a few months, 6, 7 months, it's time to start introducing. This is my friend. We're dating. and bringing them around here and there. He ain't got to come to every event, but maybe swinging him through, and then letting the kids get a little vibe for him, and let him get a little vibe for the kids, and then that way down the down the line, if your kids may say they see something, or he may see something that he don't want to deal with, and then you can go ahead and move forward as friends and break that trying to get together off. And I think a lot of times we don't do that, and I think that's why kids are so like that. I'm reading some comments in here. I see Carrie said that transitioning, you're exactly right. Kids transitioning from their fathers or mother to a stepmother and a stepfather. I think that can be, that's why I said we need to, when we meet them, our kids need to meet them too. Because we always say, oh, this is a package. Well, the package needs to be all together. The package can't be, when it's time to take care of these kids, your kids need to meet him too.
That's true. That's true.
See, Amy said that I feel like one of the challenges are the parents have unresolved issues between them, and there's no real communication before they decide to move on. That's true too, Amy. I feel like that as well. Nicole said, perfectly flawed, said, I agree, especially with boys. They can tell if a man ain't about nothing. I can agree with that. My boys, they was with Michael so much that they really, my kids are real nonchalant. They don't really care about nobody like that. They like, you go with him, we don't. Bye. Yeah. So I never really had that problem. My kids got a slick mouth like they mama. So that would be their problem. They would meet somebody, and then if they didn't want to be bothered with them for that day, then the person would try to tell them something. They'd be like, oh, well, that ain't what my mama said. So those was the problem. But other than that, my kids they really didn't care about their parents. Like, I never had that big of an issue because my kids are really some sweet little kids, and and maybe I kind of made them like that. Stay out of my business, So they really didn't get in my business, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I do agree with that. I see Prince Wally. He looks like he's trying to come in. I'm gonna let him in for a moment, and we'll talk to him and see what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, looked like I couldn't bring him in because of some technical difficulties, but
I don't know why.
Yeah. So I don't know. I couldn't bring him in, but I think some of the other challenges as well is with siblings getting along. I think that when you have step kids and they're having to come over for the weekend and you have other kids, it's like they don't have their own room there. So they have to try to fit in with your kids because your kids live there. And it could be, maybe they're jealous that their dad is with another family, and I think sometimes that's what we need to talk to our kids. When we start doing this breakup thing, we have to literally sit our kids. And I didn't do this with my kids, y'all, because at the time I did not have this type of knowledge when I was dragging my kids in and out of these relationships with me. But as I have grown, I have realized that there are real conversations that we need to have with our children when we separate from their parent or their father or their mother, is that we still love y'all. Nothing has changed. We just are no longer compatible and together. And that does not mean that it's going to affect you. You still have both parents. We just live separate now. And so I believe that conversations need to be had with kids. Kids are very smart. We think that kids are not smart. Kids watch and kids soak in everything. Right when we think they're not watching or listening, they absolutely are. And Nicole, especially boys. Boys are with their mamas. Boys ain't trying to hear. Like they don't want nobody dealing with their mama. And I mean, they're gonna have to learn to, but the reality of it is that they really don't want nobody dealing with their mama. Boys will let their daddies do something. They'll be trying to be over there with them other women. About my daddy, new girlfriend, but when it comes to you, mama ain't got a new boyfriend. So, boys can be a little, different when it comes to that. Girls, I don't think they're so much like that.
And what I saw growing up too is that, kids, they have a great sense of people that you end up bringing. You might not think, like you said, you don't think they paying attention, but I know just growing up, where you can sense if they want to fool with you, if they like kids, if they really like there to be that. Like you say, kids end up knowing, boys end up kind of knowing. You can kind of tell. So a lot of times it be they don't really want to be there, but they dealing with the mama because they want to, but the kids end up posing a problem sometimes. So it's like you could tell how kids can really tell and can sense it. I could tell it at a young age. Like, I want to be in this relationship, but I don't want to deal with them kids. You know what I mean? Like, So,
but it's a package. You can't deal with me and I deal with my children because then I can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
So I think that's where a lot of the conflict come into, when sometimes with those families and bringing those families together, because a lot of times they do, the kids coming from having another father, and it's like some men, or some women, I'm not gonna say just men, some women, that ends up posing an issue.
Right. So I see Perfectly Flawed has a question. She said, so how do you handle a situation, for instance, if the dad can't be with the mom, then they want nothing to do with the child? Trifling. Because this is the thing. If I don't want you, for whatever reason, you cheated on me, you hitting on me, or I just feel like the situation is no longer, you can't make me be with you, and that should not have nothing to do with your children. And I see so many women go through that. These women do not want to be in these relationships, or even the men don't want to be in a relationship. And these mothers will hold these kids hostage pretty much and turn these kids against the other parent, or they don't want to deal with the child. And then that really affects the children. So, parents should not do that. I don't care what you and the mother goes through, or you and the father. You should never withhold your children from the other parent. These kids need both of their parents, especially in today's time. This social media, the devil is busy. These kids are under attack. They need a village, which starts with their mother and father leading the pack of the village. You cannot do that today. People need to be involved with their children at all costs and at all times.
They need both parents. They definitely need both parents. So
Perfectly Flawed. If somebody is doing that, then that's an issue. That's a major issue, and that's something that the kid need to be talked to about, because a lot of times what I saw too growing up when my kids growing up was that when you don't want to be in a situation, then you become the bad parent, and then that parent starts to tell the kids things about you and have the kids looking at you sideways. So that is not a good thing. A situation like that, I would handle that by first talking to the father and letting him know how he is affecting our child. Because we are not together, we're not gonna be together. You should never do that to your child. And sometimes you got to take people back into their childhood. I am very big on that. I will bring up a scenario to anybody, and I will take them back in their own time and say, do you remember when this happened to you? So you need to look at that. Don't ever forget what has happened to you as a child or how you felt. This is the same thing you are putting on your child. And if it made you feel a certain type of way, you don't want to make your child feel that way. So Perfectly Flawed, that is something that needs to be discussed seriously, because that's a bad situation. You know what I mean? That is a terrible situation. And men, y'all can comment too. If y'all have been in these blended families and situations, and we can move forward from the kids and talk about families. We can talk about mother-in-laws. We can talk about cousins, families, intertwining these families. Those are blended families, I have I came out of a marriage with a sister-in-law that I was very close with. And me and her, I mean, we were best friends for like over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I married her brother, our relationship went that way, and it did not work between us anymore. And so I didn't understand why, but it did. So sometimes blended families don't work. Some people, they don't want you going with their brother or their cousins. And if they, if they've known you their whole life, they don't want that. Um,
Why
and
do you think that is, though? Why do you think that is? Because you get along all that time, everything is cool, and then as soon as, like you said, you get married, everything shifts.
I think with that situation, because I'm a very dominant person, my attitude is dominant, my personality is dominant, my character is
Mm-hmm.
dominant, and I'm an alpha female, and I think people like that, but they don't want you with somebody in their family. Like you
Mm-hmm.
my girl. I know you take care of business. I know you good, but that's not really what I want for my brother or my son. You know what I'm saying? Which is really not their call, but they feel that way. From what I understood between me and my ex sister in law was that she felt like I was taking her brother away from her,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of I was taken aback by it because I had always dated her brother on and off since junior high. So I
Right.
never understood what did she mean when she said she felt like I was taking him from her. And she was
Right.
married to a man for 20 years. She was in a
Right.
marriage at the
So,
time that me and her brother had got married. So I
mhm.
was really shocked about that. So blending families could be crazy. You know, they can be crazy. I was thinking, in fact, when you get married or you get with someone, you always think of, oh, the mama. Well, shit, it was the sister. I'm thinking,
Right.
his mother had passed away, way before we had ever met when we was in high school. So, I'm thinking, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna have the mother problems because his mother is no longer here, and then I end up having the sister problems. you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I'm thinking, wow,
Right.
because me and the sister was so close. I mean, you saw her, you saw me, you know what I mean? And that's how tight we was. But the whole dynamic, I mean, the relationship changed. It was like 1 minute, it was like, okay, you with my brother. I don't want to be in the middle of it. I don't want to hear nothing about him. But then when I would talk to my other friends about him, then it was like, well, you're not telling me stuff about you and my brother. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't have me all over the place. Like, either you want to know
Mm-hmm.
what goes on between me and your brother or you don't. You know what I'm saying? And she was like taking me on a merry-go-round. And
Mm-hmm.
then the relationship just ended because it was too much for me because I was upset because I couldn't understand why I was such a great home girl, but I couldn't be a great sister-in-law. Like
Yeah.
where did it different? And it's almost the same thing to me. We always called each other sisters. So
Right.
I didn't
What she
understand
said.
that. Yeah,
What
I didn't understand where she went with that. But
I like what
it,
Carrie said is
blending
blended.
require boundaries, and that's right. Blending require, and I'm gonna tell you, with my husband today, he definitely have boundaries with his wife. I don't really have no problems with his family. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? As far as that, I think me and my mother-in-law kind of got off to a little rocky start. But my husband handled that. And that's one of the things that I appreciate about him is because, he loved me and his mom.
Right.
And we are both important in his life to him. So he kind of handled that and squashed that down real fast before it even went anywhere. Um,
But that's because he set those boundaries. He put those
Right,
boundaries in
because
place.
he set boundaries, yeah.
Right.
So that was that. So, I do see a lot of that with I was a mother-in-law. My son was married and
Mm-hmm.
before and my other son, he's married as well. And so I just kind of stay at their business until I have to be in that
Right.
till I have to be in their business and I try not to be in their business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where boundaries come in, and you're exactly correct, Carrie.
I think if you set them up front, like you said, he came in, he set them boundaries for you guys, and you don't have those
Mhm.
issues. I think as long as that takes place in the very beginning, I don't think you'll have as many problems. I don't think you'll have as many issues.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
think if those family members are allowed to kind of come in and say what they want, come in and do what they want, that's where the problems are going to come in.
right.
So
And yeah, and you're right. I think with blended families, I think when a woman meets a man and they start to get, and you already have children, you need to let them know, you know what, this is how I parent my children. How do you parent
right,
your children? I think those conversations need to happen because you got to remember our kids are going
right,
into these relationships. They don't know these people. They are scared. They don't know what it's gonna be like. And you gotta watch how people treat your children as well. You know what I mean? You watch how they
right.
deal with your kids and you listen to your kids when they tell you things that may be happening when
Yes,
you're not around. Because some step parents can be mean. I will say them we got some people that
yeah,
can be mean to other people's kids. So, you know, that's
yeah,
something that needs to be talked to. Maybe you should get all the kids and everybody together when you get together, his kids, your kids, and
yeah.
let's talk about it. You know what I mean? Um, Mama said, adults communication and understanding is very important from the very start. Exactly, Mom. I agree, Erica. You agree with that? Like
Of course, so yeah.
understanding from the start. Yeah, I
But
definitely
I think
agree.
that definitely comes with parenting and y'all being on the same page when it comes to those kids and raising those kids and having that communication between the two of you. I think that definitely sets kind of that foundation from
Hmm.
jump. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I agree with that too. I think that because so many things we have seen on TV, these step parents, these boyfriends killing these kids. I
oh
think
yeah,
that when you blend in these families, you got to know who you are dating. You got to know their background. Do they
hmm,
like children? How do they treat their children? Do they pick up their children all the time? Do
right,
do they talk to their kids? How do they talk to their kids? Because nine
right,
out of 10, if they talking crazy to their kids, your kids are gonna probably get talked to crazy too. And then that's gonna make y'all, the blended family, be torn apart because of course we all
right,
know that we're not going to let people treat our kids any kind of way. But I
mm,
think that blended families can work. I don't see a lot of them working. um, it's always just a lot of back and forth with it. But I believe that if you meet somebody and you're dating them and you
hmm,
know they have children, as a man or a woman, you need to want to get to know their children.
right,
um, my husband has adult children. They were a little leery about me. I remember when me and Dorian got together and we got married, and one of his daughters told him, "We don't even know her." And I was like, "Okay." You know,
yeah,
and we can, because man, I'm all up. I'm Michelle. I am who I am. I love kids. I don't fool with them like that. Now, I love y'all from a distance. I'm gonna crack a few jokes with the kids, but baby, I don't really do kids like that. Like, I ain't finna be going shopping with you. We ain't finna be hanging out. We ain't having no drinks together. We
yeah,
might go have a little lunch. We might talk on the phone a few times, but I don't do kids like that. I don't even do that with my kids. I don't hang out with my kids. I ain't going nowhere with them like that. We two different. I need you to know I'm always your mama. I ain't your girl. You got
mm,
homegirls and I got homegirls. When we talk, it's about parent stuff. You can talk to me about anything, but I ain't your friend.
mhm,
And my mama was like that with me, and that's just me. I don't really do that. I have boundaries with my kids. And that was a terrible thing for me and my kids because they felt like they couldn't talk to me about anything.
mm,
But that was just the way I was raised. My mama was my mama. I never hung out with my mama. I never cussed in front of, now I cuss in front of her now when I get mad, but
yeah,
we never kicked it like that. Like, it was my mom. I was going by her house. I was gonna go see what she was doing, see if she needed anything, go help her clean up, clean out some stuff, and then I'm going home. We're not going nowhere together. And in my whole life, me and my mom have never been like that. So, you
mhm,
know, um, so you know, I think that a lot of those things are important with blended families. Maybe you are a stepmother who want to hang out with the step kids. Um, my stepdaughters, I have been around them. They're very sweet girls. One of them came for New Year's last year. She hung out with us and her boyfriend, and we had a great time.
Mhm.
Um, and my other stepdaughter, she has a baby, so we see them periodically here and there. So, and it works well for me and Dorian. We
Yeah,
don't see them that often, and that just works for our family.
yeah.
I don't see my kids that often. You know what I'm saying? So it works for us in the way we do it with our kids. So you know,
So,
y'all
do we have anybody else on here that
have,
has comments or having blended families and how it works for them? And
yeah, um, yeah. Do y'all have what is y'all take on blended families? Why don't y'all think that blended families work? Or if it has worked for y'all, let us know. Maybe we can help somebody on here who has a blended family that may be going through some problems, or maybe you could tell us how to if some things are going wrong, maybe you can tell the audience how it can how you can give them some tips on how it worked for you when it was going bad, and how it can change.
mhm.
So I see a couple of people on here who've had blended families. D'Amica Harmon, you watching? D'Amica Harmon, how did it work with your blended family? I know you was in a blended family for a long time. It takes time. You have to be committed. Um,
Mm.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think with the adults, because I mean, I was in a situation where, I had a bonus kid as well that I pretty much raised, and we communicated. Me and his mom communicated really, really well. So I guess I didn't have that issue.
Oh shoot, excuse me, y'all.
So yeah, I think it just depends. I think definitely being able to communicate.
Yeah, it takes time. You have to be committed. Yeah, you do have to be committed, Carrie. Um,
Hmm.
Commitment is everything when it comes to that.
Yeah,
Mama said, adults solidify the foundation. Each family talk to their kids, then come together as a family unit, and then as an adult, sit down from there, and then you decide if it's a go. Then well,
yeah.
yeah. Then your husband's not step, it's your husband and their children, all of them. Yep. That's true. That's true. I think that we don't do enough talking.
Or
Um
communicate.
oh, D'Amica,
Definitely.
that's okay. Um yeah, I think that um conversations do need to be had. I think when you have kids, I think that is one of the first conversations you should have, because as we know, our kids are very important to us.
I'm
And
not
I
going
think a lot of times we get into it for us. We get into which I
to.
mean, as you should, because your kids are gonna grow up, they're gonna move on, and they're gonna get their own husbands and wives. So I do
Right.
understand that, but I do think at a certain age, if your kids are a certain age, that you should have a conversation. Absolutely, you should have a conversation with them. You should have a
Like you said,
conversation.
and you like you said, maybe at certain points, making sure that you do see how they interact with your kids and how your kids interact with them, because it's going to be really important, because it might not work. So you don't want to get in too deep, and the situation don't work, because your kids are not going anywhere. That's for sure.
That
So with them being really young, I think it is important for them to meet them at some point and see how they interact,
yeah,
and how that dynamic is going to work out, if it's going to work out or not.
right. Yeah, that's true. I
Because you
see.
always want your kids to be comfortable and not uncomfortable in a situation when you start dating somebody too. So
Right. Yeah.
I think that's important.
Carrie said that's the word, bonus kids. I don't like step. Yeah. I mean, everybody got they what they call their kids. I mean, I
I
I,
think it's
I
the
don't
same.
I don't mind step.
Yeah.
It's not a problem with me. You know, everybody have their own little words. So a
I
step
think, I mean,
bonus.
because we honestly, like, we just started, people just started using bonus. I mean, it was always step. When we were younger, when we were growing up, it was step kids.
Of
That's
kids.
what it
Yeah,
was. Now everybody is using bonus kids.
right. Right. Exactly. So I think that I mean step kids, bonus kids. I mean, I guess
That's
whatever
how they
floats your boat, you know, it could be that. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't I guess it doesn't really matter what you call them. I mean, step
are.
bonus. I mean, it is what it is. Joseph Dunham, I see you watching. Joseph Dunstunner, that's my ex-husband. He was
Really?
yeah, um
He needs
he
to comment on here and tell us how it was having his bonus kids.
child,
Joseph, Joseph, we need you to comment. Tell us what it was like having your bonus kids.
you know them kids.
You need to
Them
know.
kids, them kids probably still talk to him today. No telling.
It would be nice to have some more
Some
men
men. I need
on
to
here.
see some men comment on here.
Yes.
What do y'all think about step kids? Because I know y'all be dating them mamas with them kids. Baby, tell me what y'all think, because
And
I
be
need
like,
to
oh,
know.
she got these bad kids.
Aaron Brown, you watching? I see Michael Powell. Now you always on Facebook. I need to know what you think about step. Do you have any step kids, or have you dated a woman with children? Aaron Brown, have you dated a woman with kids before? Y'all, let's talk about it. Because even though we're talking about it, I mean, some things are not going to be as positive, but out of it all, whether it's a negative or whether it's a positive, we all can learn something from it.
Yeah.
At this point, we can all learn
Something from each
something.
other. Yeah, we can all learn something from each other
We can
and
all
take
learn something
something
from
away
each
from the
other.
conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Because we're
Hmm.
all still in those situations, dealing with those situations. So
Yeah.
definitely learning still.
Yeah, and you know what? I think in blended families too that I've seen why it don't work with the parents, especially with the parents getting along with the new step parents, is because I think a lot of times the new wives or the new husbands sometimes they overstep their boundaries with kids, and let's talk about that, y'all.
Me.
Sometimes these stepmamas they overstep their boundaries. Um, they try to tell these kids what they should and shouldn't do, or they want to tell their spouse what to do with the other um husband. And Carrie, we can talk about this because I think you've been in this situation before, um, where you have had to get on or have a I ain't gonna say get on because that sounds like you getting on somebody's kid, but you have had to have a conversation with uh a new parent on the other side about how you deal with the father of your child, and how they should not get in the mix. Because I think that sometimes when we're new wives and we see that our husband is in a situation or something is going on as far with them, like child support or the things that they do for their kids, we kind of try to put our 2 cents in.
Mm.
uh, and sometimes I think we overstep our boundaries when we do that. I think that we are and should give our husbands advice, but not to the point where it is going to come in between what the two parents have already established for
Mm-hmm.
their children or
Mm-hmm.
their child. You know what I
Right.
mean? And So I think that can be a problem with blended families as well. Um,
Is that the step parents try to come in and tell and take over?
yeah,
Trying to take over.
yeah. Sometimes them step parents they get out of line. They
Yeah.
start saying things that they should not say, and
Mhm.
they can really tear up a blended family. I think that sometimes you just need to mind your business when it comes to certain things. And I think that can be a problem as well. I think is
So
that
do you
D'Amica
think it's
Harmon trying to join?
so do you think it's more so if he's asking your opinion on something and asking for advice, that's when you step in. But other than that, you're giving your advice, giving your opinion. But if he ain't asking for it, you stay out of it.
Yeah, well, I think that sometimes when our husbands tell us something about their children or
Mhm.
something about the mother of their child or a situation that they got going on, sometimes I don't think it's always for us to comment on. Sometimes it's just for us to listen. First, you
Mhm.
need to find out what were they doing for their child together before we got together.
Right.
Because they may have a little plan or setup for their child. It's
Hmm.
not for us to come in and try to rearrange that plan if it's working for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, and you're right, Carrie, back to those boundaries. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
Um, so I think that sometimes stepmothers and stepfathers sometimes can get in a situation, insert themselves in a situation that's already working,
Right.
because they
Right.
feel some type of way about the way they do things. And that's where you gotta meet with them. You got to have that conversation ahead of time. This is how me and my kid's mother do certain things. And
Right.
then if you're not well with that, maybe that's not the man you need to be marrying, or that's not the woman you need to be marrying, because it's going to cause conflict
Right.
between the kids and the child and the parents, or the exes. You know, D'Amica, I can hear you. Um, D'Amica, I can hear you. Can you hear me, D'Amica? D'Amica, can you hear me? I think she cut out. Okay. Can y'all hear me? They saying they can't hear me.
I can hear you. Oh,
You can hear me?
because I can hear you, but I can hear you through my computer.
Okay. Okay. Can y'all hear me? So yeah, maybe they'll say they can hear me in a minute. So yeah, I think that could be a problem as well. I think
Yeah.
that sometimes step parents overstep their boundaries when they are getting into a new relationship, based on the way they have dealt with their kids, father,
Right.
the daddies with their mothers. I think that that can be a problem as well.
Because
Kind
the
of.
way they handle their situation might be totally different from the way. But like you said, if that situation and what they got set up is working for them, that's when you need to stay out of it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that and I don't know if Joseph is still on here, but I remember when me and Joseph was married,
Hmm.
uh, I had told him, well, these are the rules with these kids. But
Hmm.
when I'm not here, you just enforce the rules that I have applied.
Right.
And that's probably one of the reasons why him and the kids did get along, because he
Mm.
wasn't real pushy with them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
It wasn't. Yeah.
So it was, and at that time, like, I didn't want nobody telling my kids no. When I married Joseph, I was young, and it was like, I will say what my kids need to be doing, and
Hmm.
then when I'm not around, you enforce what I say, because they gonna know that these rules came from me.
Right.
So it ain't what you told them, it's what I said, and you just enforced them. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So that was kind of the thing in my situation.
And so did that work in the situations that you were in? Just dealing with it that way, and you never let anybody just come in and say,
Yeah, he was really the only one that I lived with my kids. So at that time, so they didn't really have nobody else that came in that that I had to deal with. Me and him kind of understood that, and that's kind of what that was with us. You know what I mean? So yeah,
But that worked for y'all, so that's
that
what
that
matters.
worked for us. Yep, it absolutely did. So any of our viewers, do you guys have uh, step kids? What do you guys think about blended families and having step kids? Have y'all had good situations with y'all step kids, or
Step
was
kids
it a
and
bad
bonus kids.
situation? Huh?
I said step kids or bonus kids, as they
Yes,
say.
that's Carrie's word, bonus kids. So, do y'all have any step kids or bonus kids? And what were y'all situation like? Did y'all have any problems with their mothers? Guys, have y'all had any problems with the fathers of y'all step kids? Have y'all had any situations? You know, let us hear from you guys if you have. And if you did, how did you handle it? And did it get better as
Yeah.
time went by? Yeah, because I know for me, I think that children have a hard time adapting, especially in today's time. Back when we was kids, we didn't have a choice. But
Yeah.
whoever our mamas went with, that's who they went with, and we couldn't. We
Baby, and you
didn't
better
have a
keep your
say
mouth
so.
closed. Yeah, it wasn't nothing you didn't have nothing to
We
say
didn't have a
about
say
it. You
so
couldn't
in
speak
it.
on
Yeah,
grown folks stuff. So we
yeah,
didn't really get into that.
yeah. These kids today, they're more vocal
Hmm.
about what they think we should or shouldn't do. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't think they have the right to do that because, like I said, they will get older and they will move on, and they will have. But I do understand, that they want to have their little voices heard. So I mean, it could be either or. You know what I mean? Hey, Krishana Easley, I see you on here. Erica Jackson. If y'all have any if y'all know of any situations that y'all have been in, whether y'all still with the person or not, how did you guys overcome blended families? Do y'all get along with y'all in-laws?
So
Uh,
Damika did come in. She said she was sorry you couldn't hear her.
oh, who,
But
D'Amica?
yeah, she said, but I was trying to say that yes, I can work being in a blended family. I feel the relationship must be established first before meeting people's kids. Children can be very, I think, disciplined, manipulative,
Yeah, those kids.
and them exes too. That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Very true.
I believe that when it comes to the exes, I think that whoever you're with, y'all got to be on the same page.
For sure.
Y'all definitely have to be on the same page because if y'all are not, then somebody else can come in and mess up what y'all do in y'all household.
Hmm.
One thing that I learned when you are together with somebody, y'all together for the better. No ex, no children's mama, no children's dad. Don't nobody get to come in and say what y'all do at y'all house. That
That's
is
right.
y'all house, and y'all rules are your rules. And when those kids come over, they're gonna get loved, they're gonna get treated just as well as my kids. If I cuss my kids' ass out, your kids' ass is getting cussed out too. In our room. If you don't want your damn kids cussed out, I don't want you to step
Yeah.
mom. But I'm gonna love them. I'm gonna give them what they need. I'm gonna make sure they are taken care of.
Right.
But I don't. I'm not going extra because I go with your dad. I'm not taking you to McDonald's every day. I'm not taking you to Chick-fil-A. I'm not doing none of that extra. Because if I don't do that for my kids, you're not getting that either. Your ass gonna come off here. We're gonna make hamburgers.
Yeah.
You ain't getting no special treatment because you over here, but you gonna get treated good just like I treat my kids. So I
Right.
don't give out extra, and don't nobody get to say what goes on over here or
Right.
what we do different, or we just don't do that here. Like I say, me and my husband today, we don't have young children. We have adult children, and that is the way that we handle our situation. Because we don't have it. I mean, the kids come over. My kids respect him. His kids respect me. We're empty nesters. We don't have children that live here, so we don't have those situations. But I have seen situations like that, and I have been. My kids have had a stepfather as well that lives with us. So you know, so yeah.
Erica
So
says she had three bonus children, but only have a relationship with one.
who is
Okay,
that?
Erica.
Oh, okay, Erica. I can't see they comments for some reason.
Really?
Uh-uh.
See, and I can only see a few. Like
I
you
can't see they
said,
comments at all.
I can only see a couple of people. Like I couldn't see.
So
My mama
Eric,
said
so,
all the rules,
or
all
the
the rules the same for all.
show
Oh, for
me
sure. Everything
all the
applies.
time.
What applies over here is period. That's it.
Baby, if you get
That's
cussed out,
it.
baby,
Oh, for
my
sure.
kids get cussed out and hollered at, you getting hollered at too. I
But like
holler,
you said, know that your kids are gonna be
yeah,
taken care of, just like
right.
mine are done
And it's
taken care
all love, though. It ain't like I'm trying to harm them, but your kids my kids is not gonna feel like you getting special treatment when you come
of.
off here.
Right, right.
They cleaning up, your
You
ass cleaning up too. They getting up at 8 a.m. because it's Saturday and we got to get the stuff together. Your
yeah,
ass getting up at 8 too. You ain't getting no special treatment because you over here. And if you come over here and your mama say that you can't talk on the phone,
you can't
your
talk on.
ass ain't talking on the phone.
That's right.
Them rules now when it comes to discipline, I'm gonna go with what your mama say. I'm not gonna disregard, let you come have fun over here, and then your mama say you can't.
Right.
I'm not gonna do that. So that's probably why I ain't never dated a man who didn't have. I ain't never dated Erica. You know my motto. Your kids ain't got driver's license, baby. I
Yeah,
don't do it with you. I ain't finna be at no little league games. I don't do none of that. Baby,
we done with the little league and the basketball games and the
I'm not
cheerleading and
packing up
all of that.
Capri
Yeah,
Suns and
car seats and
cheesy
bottles and
bread. What do they call them little fish, little thing, goldfish, baby? I'm not packing none of them lunches. And no Saturday morning 7:30 a.m. at
not
no
saying anything bad,
football
but
field.
we just paying
I
for
ain't
that. I
interested.
think.
No favoritism. And Erica, so you said that you get along with one of them and not the other ones. Can you tell us why is that? Well, I don't know if you said get along, but
She said she only has. She said she has a relation. She has a relationship with only one. Oh, okay.
okay. Okay. So
She
do you not know the other ones? Have you not met the other children?
she said as for our household with my two boys, that here
All
is
his kids is grown.
great.
Okay.
They know I tolerate no disrespect. My husband is very easygoing. Heck, he allowed more than with me. That always happened.
Yeah, that's true.
The bonus children, she said, I don't really have the words for that. Just know that kids can be very disrespectful. Hmm. She said,
Mhm.
just know that kids can be very disrespectful, and I would not tolerate it at all. I get that because a lot of times I'm kids thinking, oh, well, you ain't my mama. So
Yeah,
that's how that go.
I ain't sure.
A lot of times, and that's what it is.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be
And
your
probably,
mama for
and I'm
today.
not saying that all mamas do it, but some of the mamas in the background, she better not be over there telling you nothing when you go over there. So it also has to do with a lot how their parents are and what they're saying too. So
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think that that's where you and the husband has to talk,
yeah,
or whoever you're with, and then I think that then that husband needs to get with the ex and talk to her about why is she saying these things in front of the kids or what's going on, because then that could get the kids mixed up in a lot of just some stuff that kids don't need to be in. A lot of time kids don't need to be in that jealousy mix or however they feel about the person that they are no longer with. I think that that should not happen. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to, blending these families, that
I
that
met
shouldn't
all of
be.
them. She said she's met all of them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She said I agree. Yeah, it can be, but I guess if you find a way that it works, that you are able to still have relationships but not have relationships, and it works. I mean, what are some of those ways where you don't deal with them, but you do deal with them? Like,
Yeah.
because it sounds like Erica, you figured out something. So,
Yeah.
but
I
these
see
kids nowadays,
Tashana.
they not as respectful as we didn't get to sit and talk and say what we wanted and what we didn't want. We didn't get that option. Like, we couldn't talk back. That just wasn't something that we did as kids. Like, it didn't matter where you went, who you was with, family, the people down the street, the people next door. You couldn't be
Mhm.
disrespectful. That ain't something that you did. Cause you knew that they got permission to pop you if they had to. You know what I mean? Like when we were growing up. But these kids nowadays, they very disrespectful. So it
I don't
is
think
hard
mama,
to deal with these
Eric, I
kids.
don't think my mom won't let nobody pop me. My stepmom.
Not,
My
not
daddy was in a relationship, and I'm gonna tell you, my stepmom, she went above and beyond for me. Girl, she was the nicest person I had. And I know because she liked my daddy. A
hmm.
lot, they was in a relationship, but she was extra with me, I must say.
She
She
was.
girl,
Yeah.
yep. She was super extra. Me, Tashana said they take on what the parent puts in their head. Tashana,
Hmm.
you're absolutely correct. And
Hmm.
I think that's why when you meet someone and everybody should come together. We don't know if that'll ever work like that in that dynamic. Because and I'm gonna be honest with you, with blended families, I'm gonna meet those kids. We're gonna kick it, we're gonna be cool, you're gonna come over, we're gonna talk, you're gonna leave and go on. I don't put a lot into it. And I never have. Um, when I did meet people that had kids, I never put a bunch into. I never tried to overplay my part with anybody,
Right.
um, because I know how kids are about their parents. I know
Hmm.
what type of person I am, and I just don't feel like it's my job to go above and beyond. I'm going to treat you well. I'm going to help your dad do what he needs to do to properly take care of you, but I'm not going to jump over no cow. And I'm not, and I just have never been like that. And it works for me because it keeps me out of the loop a little bit because I can be very opinionated about a lot of stuff
Hmm.
because of the way I parent. So I just try not to get too in the mix. Hey baby, how you doing? Give a little hug. We might chit chat about a few things, and then I keeps it pushing. Um,
So
I
you've
just
learned just because you've learned what works for you. Like you
yeah,
already
that is what works for me
yeah.
as a stepmom.
Hmm.
Um, like I said, my husband kids are big. They they're adults.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I don't have that situation, but I don't try to go above and beyond either. I'm not picking you up. I'm not, I mean, if you need a ride, I will, but I'm just not going that far. I don't even do that with people's family. Like when we're around, hey, y'all, bye, y'all. You know what I mean? That's just my personality. Like, because I've been in that mix before with uh blending families. I've been, with in-laws and I've been there before. I have 3 children. So I've played those
Hmm.
blended family in-law games and I just don't do it. You know what I mean? And for the sake of me, I don't do it. Not for the sake of anybody else. I know my attitude is real nasty. It can be sometimes. I feel like I'm a very nice person, but I also really don't. I just don't. It's just better for me that way. You ain't gotta feel like you gotta do nothing for me because I'm in your family. And I ain't feeling like I gotta do nothing extra for y'all because I'm in y'all family. Or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And my family don't do it with my husband. You know, they cool with him. They give business to them. They chit chat when they see him. They give them hugs. They this and that. But then that when we gone, that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's not no overkill with us. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. Um,
Um,
so hey, baby Michelle love the kids. She love the families, but you know
I
that
think you
it's
have
just
to play,
how.
like you said, you play your role in whatever that situation is.
Yeah,
You definitely, I mean, if those kids wanted to develop a relationship with you, I feel like, especially with them being older, it's not like you're going to be a certain type of way. I think you kind of have to go off of how they are too, as well.
yeah,
And, if they want that relationship with you, they will, because them being grown. If they don't, they don't. Like,
yeah. I kind of give the energy that I give.
right, right, right.
Um, like I said, and I learned that early on in my other relationships with blended families. I give the relationship that I'm very observant. I treat people the way they treat me.
Yeah,
Um, and that's just how and my husband, he know that about me. So, he
yeah,
don't try to push me too into nothing,
yeah.
and I don't do him the same. Even though my kids are crazy about him, you know, he goes with me to see my son all the time. Him and my son talk on the phone. My
Hmm.
kids,
They different.
they
Yeah.
tell him they love him, and stuff like that. And, he's very nice to them. They're very nice to him. And everybody kids are not like that. And I
Mhm.
understand that.
I agree. Yeah.
So, we do that the way we do it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, yeah. So y'all blended families can be great. I think gaining another mother, as Carrie would say, bonus, a bonus father. Y'all know I like a lot of people. I like a lot. I like having a lot of people around, but I feel like sometimes that don't always work. Um, Yeah, you're right, Erica. Even when you try, it's always that other parent that has a lot to do with. That's right, and that's just kind of where you and your husband got to be on the same page. As far as what y'all do over here and not being disrespected or not being a certain thing by the other parent. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I think that blended families can be awesome. I think that having more than a small group of people is good. I have seen where it is terrible.
Mm.
I think sometimes when people don't stay in their lane, I think when jealousy happens, I think that and we all can be opinionated at some point. I remember when my husband was incarcerated, and one of his daughters lived out of town and very close to where he was at the time. And he had told me that her mother had never really said anything about bringing her to see him. But when he got in a relationship, then the
Mm.
mother wanted to take her to see him. And I was like, uh-uh. Like, you was in North Carolina, they was in Atlanta. That's kind of close together. Why wasn't they coming to see y'all then? Coming to see you then? And he didn't really understand, but I had to explain it to him. Like, sometimes you gotta watch that because it could be a little dirty. You know what I'm saying? Even though I would never try to keep anybody's child from seeing them, but it's like, come on, don't try to be funny. Like, if you ain't never did this, and then all of a sudden that this person got somebody, now all of a sudden you want to start making efforts. It's like, that's gonna turn ugly. So we may not need to entertain it. And he was in agreement with me. He was like, yeah, we don't need to entertain that. Because sometimes your partner have to not entertain some stuff
Mhm.
for it not to go down. And he didn't entertain it. So I was appreciative of him not entertaining it. But I think that if everybody understood that when it's over, that these kids are going to be loved and taken care of, by the step parents or the bonus parents, I think that it shouldn't be a problem. But we know, unfortunately, that's not the way. That's in Michelle's happy world, who wants to kumbaya with everybody until they piss me off. And then I don't want to kumbaya with anybody no more. But in my happy world, if it was up to me, I would have us all together and we would have a good time. But it unfortunately it don't work like that. It could. I'm not one of them. And I will also say that I am not one of those stepmothers who talk to them ex-mothers either. Mm-mm. I don't think we got too much to be talking about, boo. Drop your kid off. Hey girl, like Miss Parker on Friday. And I keep it pushing. We ain't really got too much to talk about. You know, you know what I mean? And that's me. I don't really get into that either. So, you know, I just kind of, have my boundaries with that too. So, you know. But what about you, Erica, with that?
Well, I always had a relationship with my bonus kid's mom. We
Mhm.
were able to come to an agreement and communicate. And for me, it was always just about the kids, nothing else. It wasn't personal. It wasn't. I
Mhm.
never thought about it that way. And I felt as long as she was respectful and we could communicate, and she was respectful and not disrespectful to me in any way. At that point, when it came to the kids, she knew that he was going to get disciplined just like mine was. She knew that I was going to take care of him. We didn't never have an issue. So
Yeah.
I feel like just as long as you both can communicate and be on the same page when it comes to raising those kids and what their needs are, and it be about them and not about your relationship or what he did or what the daddy did or what. As long as I felt like we could be on that same page, we didn't have an issue. Now, if it would have been something different, then that would have been a problem. But I mean, we were able to. So
Right. I see Damika said, I just remove myself completely. I ain't got time for the
and
foolishness. These
and some
exes
people are like that.
can take you
Yeah.
out of character.
And
Yeah.
it just depends on who you dealing with. I
Yeah,
definitely think it depends
that's
on who
true.
that person is and who you dealing with. If you can, but if you can't, then you definitely have to remove yourself and let that the father deal with
Mhm.
it, and you let them deal with it.
Yeah,
But
I think that's D'Amica. I think that is absolutely some people's situation is that some of them exes cannot let go. Um,
mm,
they
yeah,
just cannot let go, and it spills over onto those children. And so sometimes when you just don't see it working, you have to just say, you know what, this is this person's child. I'm not
right,
going to try to remove them away from their child, so I'm going to let the whole situation go. And I think that's healthy. um
yeah,
Especially if the father or the mother cannot control the other parent. I think, or not even control them, but can put them in their place and let them know this is not what you're going to do with my child. And even if the courts have to be put in place where we have to get a court order, I'm picking him up on this time at this place, and you are not involved, and we have to have a mediator, baby, I will take it all the way there. I'm real on mediation, and I'm real on getting the folks involved, because what I'm not going to do is be bothered with nobody's foolishness. So I absolutely agree with that. And Erica, you're right. We too old for that. But a
yeah,
lot of people, you know what I found out? Really, these older people are the ones who are the most ignorant when it comes to these kids. Baby, they are the most ignorant. So I do agree that sometimes removal is good. I do believe that I believe on both parts that it's just the communication, like we've heard all night, that has to be had. The talk has to be had, especially when you have kids.
yeah,
Um, and you need to know if people even want to be bothered with kids.
yeah,
I'm saying, like me, like I used to have Erica laughing all the time about, baby, if your kids ain't got driver's license, I don't want to date you. That's the first thing when I was single and I would meet a man and he say he had kids, I always want to know how old they was.
yeah.
Because if they was gonna have on that little Mana Youth Association outfit, baby, I did not want to be bothered with you. Baby, I don't want you to be running for the Dale Valley Ducks football team. I don't want you
Oh, but it's so true though.
to
Because if you already know you can't
be
deal with it,
mothering.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just didn't because I felt like to me, I remember I read a book by this man named Michael Baisden, and he said if you date a person and they child is under the age of 5, 9 times out of 10, they are still dealing with that mother. And that shit stuck in my head. I was like, this is why these people be going back and forth fighting all the time. So I was like, I am not dealing with no baby mama drama. And I never did. Now I think I gave a little baby mama drama when my kids did trying not to pay their child support. I was like, oh no, you over here buying Dooney and Burks, you better run me my money or somebody gonna be in trouble.
Right.
So I think I gave little problems at the beginning until I got a little old enough to understand that, you know what it is, what it is. I'm gonna holler and take care of my own kids. And then I'll let the folks deal with you. I'm gonna go put you on child support. I'm gonna let you rack up that money and then they'll come pick you up one day. And I got done with it too. But yeah, I just did not want to deal with a man who had little kids because in my mind they always dealt with the mothers. And I didn't want to be fighting with someone over they baby daddy. I was just like, I'm good. I don't want it. And I just didn't do it. So
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
And I mean, I think that's okay to know that that's not something that you want to deal with. So you know what? I'm going to eliminate that off the list. And that's that. I think that's okay to say for sure.
Yeah. So y'all, tonight has been good. I think I've learned some things about blended families, bonus kids, step kids, you know, removing yourself. I think those are healthy things. Um, and
Communication and setting boundaries was the
yes, setting boundaries was the number one thing. Setting boundaries
I agree.
is a must with your entire family. It is things that your family, even outside of the kids, it is things your family should not be able to say about your spouse. It shouldn't even be a conversation.
That's right.
These kids should not be able to say anything. Their parents should not be able to say anything. And when you and your uh, kid's father or mother have something said, that is what it is. You don't get to infiltrate that and make it to what you want to be because you are now married to their mother or father. That does not work like that. So I think conversations need to be had when you blend families, and I think that it can all work out. I think in the end, I see a lot of great things with stepkids. Stepkids end up loving their stepmamas and their stepdads. Once they let their parents get out of their head,
Mm-hmm.
then they end up really liking they step parents. So you know, I think tonight conversation was awesome. I thank you guys for tuning in. We always appreciate you guys tuning in and just joining in the conversation. These are healthy conversations. These are things that we do not have as Black people. So I think these are very healthy conversations. Just getting other people's opinions, I think is healthy. You guys, please go and like our page, Relocked on YouTube. Go subscribe. We're trying to grow our following on there. Um, Guys, on Tuesdays, 7:30 p.m., we will be on here. We're right now doing it every week. We may go to every other week. That way we can get content out there. We can get flyers out and it won't be so fast. And that way we can get more people to join the live and get in on the conversation. Y'all, these are great conversations to have because you may be in a blended family and you're stuck and don't know what to do. And someone could come on here and can give you some insight on what you can do. And you may not take anything from it. You may just be given some insight. So I thank you guys for joining. We love you guys. Tune in. We're not going to do next Tuesday. We're going to do the Tuesday after because we need to advertise more and we need to get our content out there. about what the next live is going to be about. So we got some very hot topics coming up. Interracial marriages, adult children. When should we wean off adult children? When is it time to stop coddling them? We have marriages, infidelity.
Mm.
When should we leave in a marriage when we are being cheated on? So we have a lot of hot topics coming
And
up.
y'all send us some too as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Erica. Yeah, send us some.
Send us some too as well.
If
We
y'all
will
have
be
any
interested.
suggestions, yep, that's right. That is absolutely correct. So we thank you guys for joining. We will
Thank you guys so much. We do. We appreciate it. I mean, y'all taking out the time. Y'all don't have to do that with us in the evenings, but we really do appreciate it. So yes, thank you.
so thank y'all. We appreciate it, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. So stay tuned and just look out for our flyers and our YouTube page and Facebook. We will be advertising that. So we love you guys. Thank you so much. And you guys have a good night. Bye.